Last time on Danganronpa.
There is no shame in being wrong. Nobody expects much from you anyway.
The only one that's allowed to take shots at Makoto is me, bitch. Set the fuck down. And now back to escaping from the school.
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said...
We could not have been gone for more than a minute or two, though. So when the killer was able to get in and move Hifumi's body in that short amount of time, it would seem so.
His body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
That is a monstrous feat.
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What you talking about, girl?
What? How?
Look how dumbfounded she looks.
If the dead body were to move itself.
Ooh!
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another... ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is, we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Did you check his pulse?
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That... it isn't possible.
The idea that Hifumi was still alive. Is it really possible? No one checked his pulse. You can't say for sure whether he was actually dead or not. Okay.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Exactly.
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Let me read this. But the body discovery announcement was only made once, that much I'm sure of.
Are you saying that when we first found...
Let me see, hold on. Yeah, it's none of this.
There's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Oh, wait. No. I got the wrong one.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was...
No, Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body... Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement... Are we real?
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body discovery and Hifumi's dead body had been found.
No, that's wrong! Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Yeah, was it?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, there really should have been 2 announcements.
Yeah.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
Wrong.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail.
Yes, yes, of course.
But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
Low.
No, actually, that was plenty.
Yes, it was.
Huh?
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
The second body discovery announcement. The first time I played was when we found each body in the nurse's office in the equipment room. The second time was when both bodies were rediscovered.
We heard it a second time in the repository when we rediscovered the 2 bodies.
Ding dong, ding dong. A body has been discovered. Blah blah blah. A voice.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
And in reality, when the 2 dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
The glasses.
Oh, I know!
What?
Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
I love you, but no.
That is the worst logic I have ever heard.
Oh my god.
But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
You sure about that?
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body.
We don't need to do that, girl. I already got the evidence. I got it unlocked.
Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
Okay, never mind.
This whole thing is pointless.
No, you're pointless. Shut up. There has to be proof that shows Hifumi was still alive. I have to find it and show it to everyone. Make your argument. Everyone's glasses. See? Repository dolly and door. Ooh.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
Ooh.
And the next time
The color
we
of
saw his
television.
body,
Wait. Achievement
it was
unlocked.
in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
You sure? Yes! Thank you for giving me some time! I didn't think it was gonna give me enough time. Thank you.
In fact,
My knee.
there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository.
Ow, I hit my knee against my table. Ow.
His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
I was so hyped. Oh my god, my knee.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
The evidence I found in the trash can in the nurse's office. What?
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
Oh, hell yeah.
The character was Princess Piggles from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
Wow, good on you for remembering the name, because I completely forgot.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
No.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
God, you're hopeless.
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
Then it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely.
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
I knew it was gonna be brought up eventually.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere!
That sounds so gross.
But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
Yes. The one who moved Taka's body was Hifumi.
My God!
Not Sakura, Taka himself.
It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked? Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means, when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
You know what I just realized? She has a freaking knee pad, a knee pad on her right knee. She's a swimmer. Isn't that something that the volleyball players would use? I don't know. Oh, she is a sports fanatic. Not fanatic, but she loves to do sports. Like, maybe, I think she did say something about doing volleyball, so that would make sense.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed.
Look into her eyes, her purple eyes, and look at that smile. People smile.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
Everyone always points it to me. The thing that Hifumi stole from Taka. Could it be?
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
Yeah, see, look at her knee pad. Look at her knee pad right there.
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Why'd you say it like that?
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
So we talk about how soccer is, and it's like, Yes, his pants. Why? I found a hole maybe we can use to escape. When I can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the equipment room at 6 a.m.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been...
Hifumi's pants! Hifumi's pants! Why?
I got it! That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection!
Wait, why?
I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy! Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Why do you have these nicknames?
Oh, yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
So it makes sense! Man, Genocide Jack is seriously scary, but still, I can't let it get to me. I mean, we have evidence right then and there. We could have shoved it in her face like, no, shut up. You're knocked out. Shut the hell up. Glass cleaning cloth. Oh my goodness.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
Oh my god.
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
Oh.
The time doesn't matter!
Oh.
The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
Get it! Yeah!
No, that's wrong. No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm talking about what I'm talking about, girl. Come on now.
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Well, alright. At least she's quick to realize.
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
Playing with your emotions.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it? Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Can we not talk about that?
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Look at him sweating. It's like, yeah, we needed to get off this topic. Cause this is, yeah.
He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
Sure. Proof that Hifumi stole a note from Taka. This right here, you motherfucking...
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note...
I'm mad it took him this long to do it.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
Yes, indeed.
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive.
Oh my god.
Sorry, no.
You imbecile.
When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Ooh.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together. Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Damn.
Who are you calling a walrus?
Well, I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
Anyway,
I'm kidding.
When they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised.
Wow.
It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
You know, at first I thought he was spouting a bunch of nonsense, but actually, you know what? That was... wow. Claps for Taka. Oh my goodness. Not Taka, sorry, Hero. Oh my goodness, dude. Holy crap.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
Alright, get him out of here. Get him out.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers?
Can we also talk about the fact that none of those hammers had blood on them? There's one that was washed clean. Can we talk about that?
Personally, I haven't a clue. So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
The weapon that was actually used to kill Hifumi. The whole picture surrounding this case won't become clear until we figure that out. Somehow I have to find the truth. Yo. Broken wristwatch, blue tarp, and spotless hammer. Ooh! I already see it. I see it.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3?
Oh, why is it still there?
Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out.
What's that?
How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it? Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
What? Wait.
Well, one thing seems...
Wait. Hold on. Okay, this is messed up, but your boys gotta check this out. Is this an actual website? This better not be a friggin' website. I swear to goodness. I'm afraid to, though, because this is about to put me on a watch list. I don't know. I don't want... I'm not trying to be put on no NSA watch list, though. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm about to look this up. Okay, I'm about to look up Danganronpa Hammer website. Huh! Oh no! Big cartel. Oh no! I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see that. Nope. I didn't see that. I didn't go to the actual website, but in the Google search thing, there was something there. I'm not gonna even. Nope.
The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers. And, that's about it.
Oh, okay. If the weapon used to kill Hifumi was similar to the weapon used to kill Taka.
It had to be one of the Justice Hammers.
I missed.
That's about it.
I missed. I missed twice.
What was used to kill Hifumi?
Will this work?
Was it Justice Hammer 3?
I don't think so. Maybe you have some idea, but I don't understand at all. Oh, that's fine. At least you didn't yell at me.
Well, what the murder weapon had to be one of the...
Aha!
No, that's wrong. The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Hi.
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
You didn't say flex? What the hell's flex? Why couldn't you just say pieces?
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
We did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. At least that's what we thought at first, but... Again?
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Oh well. Is the possibility of an accomplice really that insane, or is there some chance two murders?
Based on the rules, even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds true.
That is.
But that only really,
In this case, however, there were two murders.
There we go.
based on the rules, even if more than one, only the one who actually carried out the act, assuming the rule holds true. It is...
Shut your mouth!
Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, If there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
Oh, is it because of, so let's say this, Hifumi killed Taka, right? And then whoever the accomplice was killed Hifumi. So that point, No, because that's how it would benefit the killer overall, the main one, the one that orchestrated everything. Because I don't think Hifumi ever expected to get betrayed like that, so at that point, they orchestrated the plot, but Hifumi was the one that actually killed the person, which means that Hifumi would have been the one to take a fall, right? That means the main killer would have been the one to benefit from everything. And Hifumi would have gotten nothing other than the satisfaction of possibly being the one that took out Taka, because I guess some way they were able to coerce him to work with them. I don't know. Oh, you know what? Alter ego. Perhaps the main killer was the one that put the thought into Hifumi's brain that Taka was the one that took alter ego. So maybe he took that as fuel to kill Taka. Man, I'm just spouting a lot of BS. I don't know.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka.
Oh, that's right. I didn't even think about that fact that they could have both been accomplices in each other's crimes. I thought that she just used him as a way to, I don't know, possibly level out. Like, just use whoever the killer was, used Hifumi's emotions against him. I don't know.
They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
Yeah, that too.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful! How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
The effort made to convince us the two murders were the same, that was the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed that fact from the very beginning, which is why she said not to look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing. Although, when you think about that, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
I love how he's just having an inner monologue with himself, and then he also had the holy crap, like, dude, she's really good at this. Have you done this before? Kind of thing.
That's problem numero uno right now.
Ooh. It's problemo, not problem. Come on now. If you're gonna do it in Spanish, do it right. The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions, and in the end, murdered him. In the debates up until now, the way the case has unfolded, when you consider all that, if you're the only one person who seems to fit. It was Mondo all along, I knew it. Oh, look at Hina's face. And look at Hiro's face. Look at Byakuya's face. And look at Celeste. Celeste is the only one that looks calm.
Here's my answer.
She's also the
It
one.
was Celeste.
She's also the one that's been completely leading this whole thing into how she wanted it to be.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him that ever go within 10 feet of that shit from brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
And there's the true Celeste.
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What is that? What is it that only Hifumi and Celeste had in common? The screaming. Shoot, wait, they're encountering the suspicious individual.
Shoot!
How? No one heard anything, boy.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it?
Because they were, what, they're screaming, but then... yeah, that was stupid of me.
The only ones who ever actually saw Robo Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
Hello?
Sorry.
No. Don't apologize. What the hell?
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual.
That's crazy. Boy, how old are you? How old am I? Oh, it doesn't say. We're the same age. You might be just a bit taller than me, but that doesn't mean anything. In fact, I'm short as hell. 5'3", jeez. Dude, Sayaka was 2 freaking inches higher than her. Oh my goodness.
If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
How tall is... Oh, Kyoko's got a star next to her. What does that mean? I didn't max her out already, did I? She's 5'6", yo, she's tall. Well, she's shorter than me, but she's taller than him too. Maybe I maxed her out for the time being.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow, something move around at the top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen.
Uh-huh.
Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the 3rd floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
Oh, come on, it was a funny scream though.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him, the strange costume man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I funny screamed. I was blocking the stairs, and so we headed further down into the hallway and disappeared, blah blah blah.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Funny scream! Huh? What was that? That came from downstairs. It must have been Hifumi. He's in the nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
It was to get us to divide into 2 groups, so that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
Yeah.
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Uh-huh. Then why don't we split into 2 groups? I'll lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well, then Makoto and Hina, you come with me into the nurse's office. I'll lead the capture of blah blah.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected.
Quiet, huh?
And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on.
Funny scream!
That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing.
Quiet, huh?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead,
I certainly was not expecting this. I didn't imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, You were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything. The whole thing was one big act.
Very good actress.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kind of sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait, then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed.
Uh-huh.
Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
You must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die, just like those guys died. Those guys.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
What's so strange is how the hell does she know that Taka died?
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
Ah, no one expects you to.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Byakuya said that Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. What is he alluding to? He just explained it, though. Celeste, huh?
All right. They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Or, okay. Oh!
All I said was, they must really enjoying the sight of what they must be. We are going to die. And that is...
And that's all it takes to... What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Okay. I didn't even read this though. But Celeste said what she said. When Celeste said what she did, she shouldn't have known yet. With that in mind, what's so strange about what she said was...
All I said, they must really enjoying the sight of what they must be. We are all going to die here. We are going to die. Just like those...
No, that's wrong.
Counter! Full counter!
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
No.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit.
Oh my god, this is so stupid.
Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer.
Because we decided to give it to her?
In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away.
Wrong.
If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Other explanations? If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away,